school that their finish as a premiership contender?
I don't think they can win the premiership. I can easily be proved wrong, but I think they've got the challenge of finishing in the 8, Hutchie. So that's the first thing they've got to tick off. And I was up on the weekend, I saw them. I'm not sure they got the balance of their side right. They went in with 2 big, tall ruckmen on that small ground with Dawson Simpson and Trent West. 5 of the first 7 goals, I think, were kicked from clearances and stoppages to the Sydney Swans. They were fantastic, it has to be said, early on in this game. And then the great Geelong resistance and resilience kicked back in. But I just would have thought, you know, maybe they want to get some game time into Simpson, but I would have thought perhaps on that ground up there at night they could have got through with West and Hawkins pinch hitting in the ruck.
Swans are getting off to Shanghai starts. They are absolutely slaying them out of the gates. This is what's happened so far. 3 games this season, they've scored 21-3 in first quarters, 29 in the first quarter average for the season, and just 16 points conceded. And their accuracy's gone from last to first as well in the competition, so they are on fire early.
Yeah, they are. And
are they fit enough, though?
They were clinical and great with their hands, and yeah, well, the undeniable fact is that they have been run over in a couple of games in recent weeks, and again, I think Mick Malthouse had cause to comment on their fitness or otherwise.
If there's a side that look unfit, they look unfit.
Sydney do.
Well, I'm only saying that on the back of watching them against Essendon the previous week and again on Friday. They just look like they couldn't get over the ground.
I wouldn't have a clue whether they're fit enough. I would imagine that their fitness staff have done a pretty good job. They did. Now, whether they go into their shell at the end of the game, I'm not sure.
Look, you've only got so much, and Mick's a learned man, and he should know that if you're going to start a game like Sydney start and perform at that intense level, you're going to run out of gas sooner or later. So you can either do it one way or the other. Geelong start poorly and finish like a train, and everyone says, oh, gee, they're fit. Sydney start well every week and put it out there, and they get run down because they're tired. They've given everything they've got. It's not fitness. You can only squeeze so much in the bottle.
Grant, you've coached. We spoke to John Longmire before the game. He had spent the previous day at his mother's funeral. She died far too young, a bit of a battle with cancer, and he spoke about that before the game. The players obviously wore black armbands in memory. How on earth can you go from... I so admired his mental resilience. He said his mother would have been furious with him if he hadn't fronted up and coached the next day. How do you switch from one to the other like that? It just strikes me as very difficult in such a tough game.
Well, I would have no conception of that. You'd have to go through it. Unfortunately, I haven't, so I don't know how you would cope, and full credit to him to be able to do that.
Impressive performance, John Longmire, in his whole coaching career so far.
He put his own stamp on it and has done terrifically well on the back of a recruiting month, Hutchie, that you had a look at today, which was extraordinary.
Well, we've long argued about the state of the Sydney list. For all the teams out there who need a renovation, this is what Kinnear Beatson did in 2009, one of the great recruiting efforts. In 1 month, or in 1 week almost, 1 draft, Rowan, Jetta, Reid and Dennis Lane in the 1 draft with your first 4 picks, and then traded in Kennedy, McGlynn, Mumford and Seavey. You'd say 7 out of 8 massive ticks there already. And that is how, and they're all, most of them established senior players. That's how you fix a list in one year. And for the clubs out there that are struggling, can be done.
And address some of the areas that they had issues with
pace,
outside.
Forgetting about one very important factor. Sydney, we've spoken about it many times.
Culture.
They have a culture which improves players dramatically.
Yeah, and I spoke to Luke Parker up there on the weekend that's talked about a mentor system. And his first year he had Jude Bolton as his mentor, and this year he's got Kieran Jack. Got some wonderful role models. Jesse Stringer was the other